Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Hopefully you can hear me well. Sorry for the slight delay. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Welcome to our community live session. It's fantastic to see so many of you here today with us. My name is Michaela, and I lead community here at Make, and I'll be your facilitator for this session. Just before we dive in, I just want to say the session is being recorded, so don't worry, you'll get the recording later. You can rewatch it anytime. And just a quick tip, if you want to make the best of the demo, click the full screen button at the bottom of your screen to enjoy the view. Just a quick overview, we have 45 minutes, we'll have 25 to 30 minutes of live building, live demoing with Ben, then we'll have 10 to 15 minutes of live Q&A with Ben. So as Ben is presenting, feel free to ask your questions in the Q&A panel. Please keep the questions relevant to the topic so that we stay on the topic. Please keep the tone respectful. This is a community event, so let's be nice to each other, right? And we'll make sure to answer as many questions as we can here in the session. However, if there are any unanswered questions by the end of the session, we'll make sure to respond to them in a written form and send you the responses in our follow-up communication. So everybody who registered will receive a follow-up email in the upcoming days. The email will include the session recording, a written summary of the session, all the answers to all the questions, and any helpful links that should be relevant to you when it comes to learning about Make AI agents. I think that's it regarding the housekeeping. Sorry again for the tech issues. And with that, I'm going to pass the floor on to Ben. Hi, Ben.
Hi, thank you, Rita. Hello, everyone.
And take it away.
Yes, okay. So thank you, everyone, for being here. So I want to start with a small slideware to introduce the subject, but I will try to keep it fast so that I can directly jump to the demo. So as you already know, Make is from the world of the traditional workflows. It means that what we currently do is being able to build all the steps that you want your automations to go through with conditions, with service calls, etc., to build your own workflow and to automate stuff without you having to do them manually. And this has evolved. Right? We introduced AI everywhere. And now, just with Make, there are more than 300 connectors to AI solutions. And we started to introduce some kind of fuzzy logic. It means that we introduce the AI steps in traditional workflows where we can handle unstructured data, and we can ensure that some data that is not easy to read for computers become easy. So, for example, the capability to analyze an image, to analyze a sentiment in a text, or to generate a specific text for an email, etc. But this was not enough, actually, because we also needed to be able to do what we call non-deterministic workflows. It means that we need, this is what we call also agentic automation. It's this capability to give some tools to artificial intelligence and to let it decide what steps it will go through based on the context, based on the goal it has, etc., etc. So this is what we will focus on. And all these different type of, let's say, automations are complementary. We can mix between all these types. So there are some strengths and some weaknesses for each of them. I don't want to spend too much time on this. We can say that for the traditional workflows, for the strengths is that it's predefined, so it can be fast to execute. It's easy to follow. It follows exactly the process that you want to put in place with conditions, routes, etc. But the problem is that if your process changes, you need to modify your workflow, you need to modify your scenario in Make, and you need to to maintain it, and you can't really foresee all the possible situations. With a workflow that brings AI, it's already better, but you're still in the same type of situation. It means that you bring some fuzzy logic, so you can be more adaptable, but still you still need to do this maintenance. With agentic automation, now you just give all the capabilities to your agent, and then you can let it handle things alone. So it's much better because you're not obliged to foresee all situations. Just give it all the tools it will need, and then it will decide what to use, what to do, how to transform data, etc. But the caveat is that it's less predictable. So it means that sometimes you can have some hallucinations, or you can have some steps that are not exactly executed in the order you would have done. So you will see. We will talk more about this. But when you mix all this together, you can get the best of both worlds. So what we want to achieve is this. This is a working example where we built where we built a use case with traditional workflow, so a traditional scenario in which we try to see all the possible queries from users. So it's a Telegram bot in which we say, okay, the user types questions about contacts. I want to create a contact, I want to find one, etc. And we query a database, etc. And for this, we have to foresee all possible questions that the users will ask. So if we say, okay, now we want to let the user get information about contacts in a CSV file, for example, we need to modify the scenario, right? It's a little complex to maintain, and it becomes huge scenarios. So what we want to achieve is this on the right. So it means that we want to give a few tools to the agent. We say, okay, we give you a tool to create a contact, to query, to update, etc. And then we ask you to do things. So we say, okay, can you search a contact? So it knows that it has to run the tool search contacts. If we say something like, can you update a contact? It knows exactly what tool to call. So this is really the goal of the agentic automation, is to let the agent decide what steps it will go through to achieve a goal. So let's jump directly to the demo. So what I will do now, I will share my screen, and I will start showing you a use case that I want to achieve. And let's go to my organization here. Okay. So I will switch between tabs, but I will try and not forget to share all the each tab individually. So what we want to do is a police detective agent. So just for fun, we wanted to handle a robbery that happened in a hotel. And we have a list of alibis, and from this list of alibis, we want the agent to be able to determine who could be the one that did the crime. So for this, we have this list of alibis that will modify so that we have different outcomes, and we'll make it so that the agent is able to send the follow-up questions or send an email with a report. So if you see here, I have an Excel spreadsheet, a Google spreadsheet, sorry, with a list of alibis. So we have here 7 alibis. But also, I have another tab here, another page with follow-up questions. This is where we'll ask follow-up questions. So if, for example, the agent is not able to determine who did the crime, so if he's not sure, he will say, okay, I need you to ask follow-up questions to find new alibis and to see if I can determine who did the crime. So it's not complex. We wanted it to be very simple, just to show you overall what it looks like, how we build this, and how the agent decides what tool to use based on the context. So if I can show you, I will use grid here. This is an implementation I already did, but we'll start from scratch. Just an example. So I use make grid to show you the dependencies and to show you what it will look like. So we'll have a detective agent. So this is an AI agent. And what we'll give him is 2 different tools. One tool to write follow-up questions. So Sorry, I forgot to share the tab. I'm sorry. So I hope you see it now. So I apologize for that. I will try not to forget next time. So here I'm in grid again. What I'm showing you is an example implementation of my detective AI agent. And I want to show you that I have my detective and I give it two different tools. So we have write follow-up questions. This one will send questions to the alibis spreadsheet, but to the specific page that we created for it. And we'll also let it send an email. So that's very simple. So if it knows, or he has guessed who has done the crime, it will send an email. If it doesn't know, if it's not sure, it will send follow-up questions. It's that simple. And we'll build a scenario that will trigger this detective. So okay, you have alibi. We have different type of alibis. There was a robbery. Try to determine who did the forfeit. So so let me go to another tab to show you what it looks like. So I hope you all see my my tab with the make agents, where I will be able to create an agent, because I want to start creating this agent, right? So obviously I click create an agent. And in here, I can decide what LLM I will use. So I talked about tools. So the tools are like the hands and the arms of the agent. It's all the things we give it to do its job, to do different actions. And what we want is also a brain. So the brain that thinks, that processes the data in, the data out, so that decides what tools to call, etc. And the brain is an LLM. So if you are in a pro or above plan, so pro plan, team plan, enterprise, you can select your own LLM provider. If you are in core and in free, you can use the make AI provider. So the advantage is that even with the free organizations, you can start playing with the AI agent. So this is the one I used. I will give it okay, I will close this. So I hope it's fine for the view. Everybody is seeing what I'm doing. Let's call it detective. And let's choose a model. So with Make AI Provider, we provide three models, different qualities. We'll use the large one because it has better capabilities with the reasoning, for example. So here, this is a system prompt. It's where we describe what the agent is about, what it's supposed to be and to do. So let's make it very simple. I will just copy and paste something. You are a police detective that investigates robberies. But this one is very important because this is also where you will define the tone of his voice, what he will say, or will he be familiar or professional. You can give the general rules of how this agent should behave. So this is really really key. But here, let's make it simple. We just say you are a police detective that investigate robberies. And we have different things. So I will show you almost everything. I hope I will have time to show you absolutely everything. But the most important are the tools, because the tools is, as I mentioned, are the all the capabilities you will give the agent. So if you wanted to send an email, you need to provide it the tool that allows him to send an email, right? But we also have MCP, we have context files, etc. I will talk about it later. For the moment, for the use case, we'll use only tools. And we'll also use chat. So chat is very important because it allows you to test if the tools work correctly. So if you want to add a new tool and you want to see if the agent understands how to use this tool and to use it, you can use the chat for that. So it's very, very, very useful. So let me start with the first thing. So what we want to do is to give the tool the capability to send the follow-up question. So when he wants to ask a follow-up question, can you check the CCTV videos, etc.? we want to store all this information into the spreadsheet. I could have used a completely different spreadsheet just to make it simpler. I use a different tab here, but I guess you see the point, right? So the first thing I can do with the agent and from the agent page is to directly create a new scenario from here. And that's very powerful because what I can do here, I can select an existing scenario in my team, or I can create a new one. And this is what we'll do. We'll create a new scenario. Here, I will copy and paste again. I will use for the name, write follow-up questions. For the description, so the description is very important because it's used by the agent to understand how to use this specific tool or what the tool is about, what is it used for. So if I go to input structure, we say I want a list of questions. So list of follow-up questions. Follow-up questions. And we say it's an array because I want a list. And for the output, it's a good practice to at least put a status. Like you will say, okay, KO, you will tell the agent if it worked properly or not. This is a good practice. You're not obliged to use output structure, so you're not obliged to have your tool return data if you just want to send data, but it's still better to send back something. I will click create scenario. And now I will share the new tab because it opened a new tab. It already prepared for me a skeleton of scenarios. So you see here, if I go to questions, I can see that we have questions, these are follow-up questions, we have the output, etc. And now I will build. So I will try to build it rapidly because I want to have more time for the other things. So what I want to do is I want to use a router because I want first to get all questions and to push them into my spreadsheet. So what I will do here, I will use an iterator because I want to iterate all items in my questions array. And for each of the elements that now I have, I will do add a row. So I already connected Make to my Google account. So I will just select alibis. So list of alibis. I will select the second tab, follow-up questions. And then I will select value because this is the value of the iterator. So I can test. So sorry, I forgot just for return output, I will say all done. So you see, I make it very simple. It will start first, get the questions and push them into the spreadsheet, and then it will return, okay, I'm done. I will start it. I will run it to test. So I will say question 1, question 2. Voilà. So I will select, okay. So now I can see that the 2 questions have been sent and are returned all done. So if I go here to follow-up questions, you see Q1, Q2, so my tool works properly. So I'm good with this. I will just switch. So I save. I will go back to my agent. So I hope you see my agent now. I will click add and I will save. It's a good practice to save almost every time, right? So I can test it directly from here. You see, I have a new tool here. So if I go here, I can see the description of the tool. There are inputs, outputs, etc. So I can say send a follow-up question. For example, how are you? Okay, so I do this, and now I see that it's thinking because it's determining what tool it will call. Obviously, there is, but it knows it has to call tool write follow-up questions, and we have how are you, and as a result, we have all done. So if I go here, I have how are you. So it works. It works. I will share this tab. Okay. Now you see the tab. I forgot also. Sorry about that. Switching from tabs to tabs makes it a little bit more difficult. So here you see follow-up questions. I have how are you? So I don't think I shared the last time for Q1, Q2, but I'm sure you can believe me, it worked. And we can see that now the agent was able to send the follow-up question. So we are all good. The first tool works. So I will go back to my agent, and now we create the second tool. And for this one, this one is very, very, very interesting and powerful. It's because I just want to send an email. I want to make it very simple. And for this, because I don't need to add any logic, like make a comparison, I have a router, etc., I will use what we call module tools. And module tools are extremely powerful. It allows you to create a new tool from any Make app and module. So it means that you know that we have reached now 3,000 apps in Make, so 3,000 connectors to third-party applications. And in these 3,000, we have many, many modules as well. So all these modules can be used as tools, and it's very simple to use. Let me show you. I will search email. Voilà, and I will select send an email to a team member. This one is convenient because it doesn't require me to do a connection to Gmail, etc. That's why I like it very much. So the name and description are provided by default, but I can change them. So I can say here send an email. Then I will go to description. In description, we said send an email in HTML format to the captain. So because you're supposed to send a report to the captain, right? And then we have all the input parameters required by this specific module. So this module, obviously, I can hardcode some things. And so here I will hardcode a user. So it's a user in my own team. So I invited myself with my personal account so that I can receive the emails. But also you can decide to let the agent decide what to put in the different fields. So if I select subject and content with let AI agent decide, they will definitely be able to, the agent will be able to map the corresponding fields when we ask it to do it. And that's all I need to do. So I can save. And you see here, I can say, for example, send an email with subject, let's say subject hello, and 3 lines poem for the content. Okay, so I'm asking something that is not relevant at all for detective, but just to show you how it works. So now you see it has called tools send an email. And if I go to my emails, I will share the new tab. Here, I can see that I received a new email with hello and a little poem. So it works properly. I'm happy. Now I can go back to my agent, and I can now conclude that it works properly. So I saved, I'm fine. So now it's time to use it. So what I want to do is to reuse the same agent for different cases. So if I have multiple type of crimes, I want to be able to provide the corresponding alibis and description, and then to have it investigate. And the only thing it will do is to send follow-up questions or to send a report by email. So let's go now to a scenario. So I will open a new tab for that. So let's just make sure that I don't forget to do it. Voila, to share it. Let's do rapidly a little scenario. So the scenario, I will just read all the alibis. So I will do a search rows here. I will select the alibis, list of alibis. I will select the spreadsheet, of course, alibis. Okay, so now let's see if it works. So we get a list of alibis. So we are good. So now the next step will be to group all the alibis into a single document with a pipe as a separator. This is what I will provide the agent when I will run the agent. So let's go to text aggregator. I will select alibis, and I will go to advanced, and I will say the separator for each line is the pipe character. So if I run this, and I do run anyway here, let's see, you see here, I have a document that contains all the alibis that I have so far, separated by a pipe. And now let's go and run the agent. So you see, I have to decide when I want to trigger the agent. And here I say, okay, there was a crime, there was a robbery, I have a list of alibis, please try to figure out who did the forfeit. So I will choose my agent. And from here, what I can see is automatically the different tools that were already defined in this agent. And I have this capability to add a message. And the message is like the user prompt. It's really the goal I want to give it. So I will just copy and paste again. Let me just get the data here. Okay, so this one, we say, okay, there was a gem that was stolen from between 4 and 5 p.m. We had 3 suspects, Crystal, Tyler, and Fred. We provide you a pipe-separated list of alibis, etc. So I will just map the list of alibis separated by a pipe that I just generated. And we say, okay, if there is only one suspect, you can guess, you can say it's possibly him, so you send the report by email. If not, if there are 2 or 3 for which you don't have a very valid alibi, I want you to send follow-up questions. That's all. That's all. So you see here, I'm just setting. So while it's running, so I'm here. Just a little remark while it's running. I'm using it's a large model that we use at Make for the Make AI provider. It's GPT-5, and GPT-5 is excellent for reasoning, but it's a little slower than for O or some other model types. But it's fine. Just want to show you how it works. So let's leave it as it is. I will just go to share this tab, and it's already done. It already sent a list of alibis. You see here, sorry, a list of follow-up questions. So that's very powerful because these follow-up questions were generated by the LLM, by the agent, right? Do we have fingerprints somewhere? Can you double check this and that? So it worked properly. If I go back to my scenario, so we share this tab. Now I can see the results, and here I can see the response. So it says, okay, from my analysis, I have all this information. But it's not enough. Here are the follow-up questions I sent, etc. But also here, that's very important for governance to know what happened. We have all the execution steps. We know exactly what it did, what tools it called, etc. So this is the initial, the system prompt that we created. You are a police detective. Then this is the question, the goal. So we said, okay, investigate this case with the list of alibis. And then we see that it called the tool. You see it called the tool write follow-up questions with the following arguments. So it's the list of questions it asked. And then we see the result. So we send back all done, right? So, and then it gave a conclusion. So now we saw that it worked. I want to show you the other case. So when we are almost sure it's one of the guys, so that I can show you some other nice things with it, because I want to show you MCP and the context files as well. So what we'll do now, I will just pick some other alibis. I will share this here, alibis, and I will paste. So now we know that Fred was attending a virtual conference call. His webcam was on, meaning that all the colleagues can testify that he was there in the event. So here I will remove the follow-up questions, and I will come back to my scenario here, and I will run it again. So I will run it. So now we have two more alibis for Fred. So you see it here. We can see it. So this is what we sent to the agent. So he has 2 more things to process, right? To see what happens. While it's processing, I want to show you something. I want to go back. Let me just go back to grid. I hope you see my grid. I will just refresh the page just to make sure that all the assets are here now, because it takes sometimes to update based on what you said. So I will go back to this. So this is the one I already built before I joined you. So it's another example. But when you see this, for example, list of alibis, I'm using it in this specific team where I tested my use case. But also now it's used also in the agent, for the agent I just built now. And you see here, you have share assets. So it just it's not related to the agent, right? But I just wanted to show you how cool this is, because here you see we can see that in the team that I'm currently working on, I'm also leveraging this file. So you see the governance that you get with Grid as well. It's just insane, because you know exactly what assets are used by different teams, different scenarios, so that you know that if you make a modification to a file, you could impact this or that scenario. Or even if a scenario is called as a tool and you make modifications to it, you know who will be impacted, what agent will be impacted. Just a little side talk while it was running my process. Let's go back here to the scenario. So the scenario has finished working. Let's see. So you see, Tyler is a primary suspect. So it says reasoning. It explains how it found that Tyler could be the guy that did the forfeit. And then we can see here, to course, that it called send an email. So I will go to my emails now, and I see I have a new email. And this email was generated by AI as well. So I have the robbery report, and then it gives me what are his conclusions, plus some actions that you can take to follow up. So this is done for the main demo. What I want to do rapidly before we switch to the questions is to show you context files and MCP. Let me go back to the agent page. Okay, so now we see the agent. We have two tools, but we can also add MCP tools. So I won't have time to talk too much about MCP, but MCP is a new standard that allows services like SaaS providers, for example, to expose new services for LLMs and AI agents. So it includes a description of the tools, what parameters they expect, what they return, etc. So it's very powerful, because it allows, just adding the tools, it allows the agent to understand how he can use the tools. So I want to show you something rapidly. I have here a spreadsheet, a project in my workspace, a project called Ben Tasks in Asana. And I will just add the capability for the agent to create a new task in Asana. So what I need to do here, I just need to click to MCP. I'm already connected. So before I join you, I already connected my Make account to my Asana account. And so that's why I already see all the tools they provide. So I know, so just to make it faster, I know that it needs get projects, it needs list workspaces, and it needs create task. So let's see where it is, create task. Okay, so I need this, I think it's enough, these three tools, if I'm not wrong. Okay, I will try, I will test. Just to know here, if I share this tab, there are documentations that explain all the tools that are provided by all providers. This includes Make, because Make, we do have MCP server as well. So you can expose any scenario as a tool for third-party LLMs. You can also see all management tools that we provide. So you can modify your organization, activate a scenario, etc., using our MCP server as well. But I used Asana for this one. I will go back to my agent, and rapidly, what I will do is I will say, I will pick it from also, I will do a copy and paste to make it faster. Here, I will say, create a new task, demo MCP to the audience in workspace, my workspace, and project pen task. Due date in 5 days. So I will run this. So thinking again, and let's see what it does with the different tools that we provided. So you see, now it's searching for workspaces, for projects, and then create task. So it seems to be fine. And let's see if it says okay. Okay, so it seems to have worked. Yes, it did. You see, demo MCP to the audience. So that's really nice, because you see, I just had to configure the relevant tools and it generated for me all the necessary stuff. So there are a lot of things to talk about when we talk about MCP. I have one recommendation for you. You see that it has orchestrated the different calls. It knew that it needed a project ID to create a task, but to get the project ID, it needed a workspace ID. So it knew it had to call these three tools. But when it becomes more complex and you need multiple calls to multiple different MCP services, etc., you could have a problem of hallucinations. It's not really deterministic, right? So the best is when it becomes too complex, is not to use the Asana, but still use a scenario where you can define all the steps. To give you an example here, I can remove this and I can click add scenario. And then I will select one scenario I created before I join you. So here, I click add. And okay, it's done already. I will save. And if I open it, so create task in Asana, I will open it in a new tab. So this one is very simple, just to make sure that I don't take too much time. Task name, so it's the name of the task that you want to create and the due date. And here I'm using directly a make app. And this make app allows me already to select the workspace and the task. The most important is that now the agent doesn't need to know all the different workspaces or the different projects, etc. So we just give it what it needs to know, right? So here, if I share my agent, I could also do this, but I don't need to manage that it's in this workspace. I will just do this. And now it's syncing, but now instead of calling the MCP tools that I removed, it calls directly to create a task in Asana. So if I go back to Asana, I can see a new task, exactly the same because I didn't modify. But you see the problem. Do I have time to show the content files? Because I know the time is running fast. No, I don't have time. Okay. But context files are very interesting because they let you give some the context files are very useful to give some information that the LLM doesn't have. So if you have a knowledge base or some information, you can use context files and it will have all information it requires to be more efficient. I will stop sharing and I will let you ask questions. Just before the questions, I want to let you know that the use case that I built, the AI agent, the detective AI agent, is currently in the academy. So that's the good thing. So we have designed in academy different learning paths to get you to a certain level of skill based on how much you know make. So we have a foundation that introduces the basics, why, what is automation, etc. We have intermediate, sorry, that covers webhooks, error handling, etc. So we have different levels. But of course, what we have also is a full AI learning path in which we explain what is AI, what are LLMs, what are the different parameters to configure LLMs. And we, of course, in this, we also have a specific course on the AI agent, where we introduce you to the agent and make you implement the exact same use case. So I encourage you to go to the academy to test. Make at all, do the learning, the basic learning path, I would say. But if you already know, or if you are ready, you can go to the full AI path where you can play with the agent and then where you can extend it and make some other fun stuff on it. I will
Okay.
let Misha questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ben. Thanks so much for the demo. Thanks for introducing the Academy. Everybody make sure to enroll. It's a great resource indeed. We did start a bit later, so let's take a look at a couple of the questions. And once again, if we don't manage to cover your question here in the session, we'll make sure to do so in the written form later so that everybody gets their questions answered. So let me just bring here to the stage the first question. So, can an AI agent call another AI agent, Ben?
Yes, yes, we can. We can. We can, of course, for example, create a new tool, so a new scenario that calls the other AI agent, and have your main agent call this agent. So you can mix any number of agents. So if you need something to be done in a non-deterministic way, even in a tool, you can do it directly, leveraging the scenarios and the run an agent that I showed you in the use case.
Perfect. Thanks, Ben. Okay, let me just pick another one. Is there a way to limit the number of tokens the AI agent uses?
So that's a very good and interesting question. So the answer is yes, yes. So that's why I showed you also the MCP versus using a scenario. So with MCP, sometimes you need to like it needed to call three different tools. So it needs to send data, receive data, etc. All these consume tokens, right? So if you create ad hoc and with a fine granularity scenario as a tool for the agent, you will obviously save some tokens because all the deterministic steps will be done directly in a scenario. So this is one way to avoid consuming too many tokens. One other way is to also optimize the tools that you provide. So for example, if you do a search in a database, never return all the data from the database to the agent, just give some input parameters for search parameters and have the agent ask exactly what he wants so that you return only a small subset of data. So there are always ways to optimize. We are currently preparing a course in academy to explain you all the tips and tricks like this on how to optimize the token usage of the agents.
Perfect. Perfect. Thanks, Ben. Let's do another one. I think we still have a bit of time. So, how about this one? Are the Make AI agents able to implement deterministic flows?
That's an interesting point because it's exactly it's more or less what I showed. So the answer is yes and no. You saw that it did some deterministic steps when I added the MCP services. And so I added, so it knew it had to call this workspace, get projects, and then create task. But this has limits. So that's why we recommend to think about every time we want the agent to do something, is it deterministic or not? So what is non-determinist is the fact that the agent wants to call. So imagine you expose create a task, right? Because you want the agent to create a task for a team so that they take over and they do some stuff, right? This part could be non-deterministic because the agent could decide when he wants to create a task because sometimes it's not required, right? But the creation of the task itself, it's something deterministic because you need to know the workspace you want to put the task in. You need to know the project. You need maybe to do some extra actions. So it's better to use a scenario for that and to have really the agent focus on the non-deterministic steps of the goal it needs to achieve. You see, so that's why I say it's complementary with the traditional automation. Traditional automation is for deterministic steps, and all non-deterministic steps are handled by the agents.
Perfect. Ben, do you think we have time for one more question since we
Uh,
did start later?
yeah, yes, let's go if you
Let's go
can
for
go.
for the final one, and then we can wrap it up to be mindful of everyone's time. Okay, so is it possible for an AI agent to keep a session between multiple calls?
Yes, yes, it is. It is able. Unfortunately, I didn't show you because it's not part of my demo. But when I was using Run an Agent, there was a thread ID. I don't know if you saw it. There was a field in which I can put a thread ID. So it's a unique identifier that will help keep track of the previous. It's like a session, right? It's the previous calls that were done. So it means that if you want to ask a follow-up question using Run an Agent, you want to run an agent again but keeping track of the previous calls that you did, you use this thread ID and it will retrieve the history of exchanges before so that it can continue. So we saw in the agent, I didn't have much time to show you the chat. The chat is exactly what it's exactly what it does. When I type a question in chat, if I ask a follow-up question, it knows that it relates to the previous question, right? We can do exactly the same in Run an Agent with the thread IDs. Voilà, so
Perfect.
I hope it's clear enough, but I encourage you to try, to test, to play, and to have fun with it.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Ben. I'm gonna remove this
Mm,
from here.
yes.
And yes, I think that's slowly our time, right? So with that, I'm just gonna thank everybody. Thank you so much, Ben, for your time, for your expertise, for walking us through this, for answering the questions. Thanks everybody for joining us. Sorry about the delay. We're human, and technology happens. We'll make sure once again in the upcoming days to send the follow-up email with the recording of the session, the summary of the session, any extra resources, the answers to the questions. So you can look forward to seeing that in your inbox. So yeah, thanks so much for joining, and we're
Thank
looking forward to seeing you at the following live community session. So yeah, have a great day, everyone.
you. Bye bye.
Bye.